Hi there, welcome to my channel. My name is Angela, and if you weren't already aware, this is Slow Readers Bookshelf. So today I thought I would just do a little bit of a video about, I would say about Jane Austen July, but some books that maybe recommend. So Jane Austen July is run by Katie from Books and Things. I will link all channels down below. She co-hosts it with Blatantly Bookish and Spinsters Library, and they have a challenge every July for Jane Austen. I've got in theme, I've got my Jane Austen t-shirt on. So I'm going to go through the challenge. I think you've took part even if you just read one of Jane Austen's main six novels, so you don't have to do all of the challenges. I certainly won't be. Right, sorry, had a bit of an itchy nose. So I'll go through the challenge questions. So 1, read one of Jane Austen's main 6 novels. I believe this year the group read is Mansfield Park. So yeah, I'm actually going to be reading one of the other novels, and I'll explain when I get to that why. So yes, Mansfield Park, I believe, is the group read. And then it's got read something by Jane Austen that is not one of her main 6 novels. So we've got, I guess you could say, Lady Susan. I read this last year. It's a short novel. And yeah, so we've got, you could use Lady Susan. Obviously Katie and the other people who are running the challenge will give you more recommendations. Then we've got read a non-fiction work about Jane Austen or her time. So actually this, I was going to show you some various books, but actually some of these I can actually sort of incorporate in this bit. So we've got Jane Austen at Home by Lucy Worsley. I believe the watch along is going to actually be Lucy Worsley's documentary she did about that, so you could use that. Oh, my screen's gone. Then you've got read a retelling of Jane Austen's book or a work of historical fiction set in Jane Austen's time. So again, I think I've picked up a couple of these. We have Pride. I believe this is a retelling of Pride and Prejudice. So this is this sort of says a retelling. So yeah, so I think that's could fit this one. These aren't necessarily what I am going to read. I'll go through what I'm hopefully reading. So yes, we've got Pride and Prejudice remix, and this is probably a modern retelling of that one. We've got read a book by a contemporary of Jane Austen, i.e. published between 1775 and 1817. I don't think I've got anything in this pile of that, but that's challenge 5 rather. Then we've got 6, watch a direct screen adaptation of a Jane Austen book. There's many to choose from. 7, watch something with a connection to Jane Austen that is not a direct adaptation. I can never say that one. So there is, I always find quite amusing, I think it's called Austenland, and it's set obviously in modern times, and there's a girl who's a fan of Jane Austen, and she goes to, as it says on the tin, Austenland. And I've watched that a few times. It's just a nice, easy watch, fun watch. So yeah. And then we've got read along, watch along schedule. So yes, so Mansfield Park, they're reading 2 chapters a day from the 1st of July to the 24th. I may well take part in that, I don't know. Oh, this is what and then the watch along is behind closed doors Lucy Worsley's documentary, and you can get that on BBC iPlayer. So I think that is about all I have from the challenge side of things, or the questions, etc. I'm going to show you some things I would recommend. Right, what have I got? So I've got them all in a pile. Let's start with the book I am hoping, well, I'm continuing reading. I've not long started Jane Austen for every day of the year, a charming collection of wit and wisdom, but that'll be an ongoing read. I did something a bit like this with the, she can't get it, Jane Austen's year, celebrating 250 years of Jane Austen, and I finished that one at the end of May, end of June. No, I finished at the beginning of June. So yes, that's something that you could try. I'm going to go and get another book which I forgot to bring through. Right, I'm back. So the other one which is what I am actually going to listen to, I think, on Audible, is Rebecca Romney's Jane Austen's Bookshelf, The Women Writers Who Shaped a Legend. So I think you'll get some inspiration for one of the questions about the contemporaries, because there'll be some writers in there. Like I say, I have chosen that I'm going to listen to this in on Audible, and I've actually got one of my Jane Austen bookmarks for that as well, so I might read a little bit of it physically. And then, like I say, we've got Jane Austen for every day. Sticking with the non-fiction, we've got Jane Austen, A Life by Claire Tomlin, and obviously it's about Jane Austen's life. There's many books you can get on Jane Austen and her life. I'm pretty sure that Lucy Worsley's done one as well. In fact, I think I might have that somewhere. But yeah, we've got, if you wanted to read about her life, we've got Jane Austen, The Chawton Letters, this edited by Kathleen Sutherland. I read this last year, and it is basically what it says on the tin, letters. I think it's a lot of letters that she sent more. I'm just having a quick check that did she send to Cassandra. I think it's more to do, that's what it says. The 13 letters collected by Jane Austen's House Museum trace a lively story beginning from 1801 when aged 25 Jane Austen left her childhood home to move to Bath. In later correspondence we find her relishing in the sights of London and settling in the village of Chawton, Hampshire, where she writes of her anxieties for the reception of Pride and Prejudice. So it covers when she published Emma, and some of the most moving letters I think are written by her beloved sister Cassandra just days after her death in 1817. Brought together in this little book, it makes a delightful keepsake of correspondence from one of the world's best loved writers. So we've got that one, and like I say, I actually read that one last year, so I would recommend that. Other books. Now these, I'm going to try and read this this year, because I've had it on my bookshelves for a while. I've actually seen the film version of this, and that's Jane Austen Book Club by Karen Joy Fowler. And again, see, I've got this at clearance. I think I've got this from Waterstones in a clearance. I actually have two versions. I think I've got the film cover, which I'm going to pass on to the charity shop. It's going to go in the bag with the unhauled books. So this is about what it says on the tin, a book club that meets up, I think, once a month, and they're going to read the main 6 books of Jane Austen, and they visit each other's houses each month, so they're each allocated a book that they're going to host. But it's more than that. It's about friendship, relationships, and it's from the film. It sounds really good. It says in California, 6 people meet once a month to discuss Jane Austen. They are ordinary people, neither happy nor unhappy, but all wounded in different ways, all mixed up about their lives and their relationships. Over 6 months they meet, marriages are tested, affairs begin, unsuitable arrangements become suitable, and under a guiding eye of Jane Austen, some of them even fall in love. So there's a recommendation as well if you want some fiction. Likewise, so I'm hoping that one. I'm also hoping, again, I'd like to get to the murder of Mr. Wickham by Claudia Gray. This involves a lot of the characters from various Jane Austen books. I've heard really good things about this, and there's another one. I keep sticking to July, and really I should be trying reading some of these during the year, because I keep thinking I want to read this, and then I put it away in the box of my Jane Austen books that don't fit on the shelf, and then it doesn't get read. So I'm hopefully want to make probably more of a conscious effort to read this one, and I think it does. It will kind of fall into one of the challenges that are involved, because I don't know, because you've got obviously a murder of Mr. Wickham, and like I say, you have a few of the characters in it. I'm just having a look to see where we are. Where did it say? Let's go back to the questions. Watch something with Jane Austen connection. What should I recommend? A book, contemporary, retelling, no. Read a non-fiction work about Jane Austen or her time. No. Read something by Jane Austen that's not one of her 6. I don't know, possibly this could be well no, that says a non-fiction. Doesn't seem to fall in any of those. Read a book, contemporary. No, doesn't seem to fall, but I do really fancy reading that, and it is connected to Jane Austen. It's about a character, so yes, and it's what I'm reading, so I'm going to take that. Finally, so the book I'm going to read hopefully in July is Pride and Prejudice. Now the reason being, because I bought a couple of months ago, I think it was, or last month possibly, Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. This beautiful, beautiful cover. So when I got it, or when I'd seen it, I kind of decided, I thought I'm going to read that in Jane Austen July. So yes, I'm going to sit down. So that is going to be my main read of July. We all know Pride and Prejudice. You also could watch a TV adaptation of it, which is the famous one. There's quite a few good ones of Pride and Prejudice. So yes, so that's my plan that I'm going to read in July. I'm probably going to read that and, oh crumbs, it fell over there, and this. They're my plans to read, and then listen to the Jane Austen bookshelf one. If you are wanting to get introduced to Jane Austen, this is a graphic novel of Pride and Prejudice. I think I read this again a couple of years ago, if not last year. And I do find these they tell you the basic story in a graphic novel. So if you wanted, I think it's a nice way to introduce people to Jane Austen. And also Pride and Prejudice, I have this one, which is obviously the story of Pride and Prejudice, but it has illustrations through it, so it's just a nice copy of Pride and Prejudice. So I am going to try and read that, or possibly read it in this version. But yes, so for this month of Jane Austen July, I plan to read that one. So yeah, I think really like I say, I hope these recommendations help you. I mean, there's plenty of books out there. There's plenty of retellings and non-fiction about Jane Austen. You know, it's just such a phenomenon that and I love beloved author. That there's loads and loads of stuff out there. So, but like I say, I think the main thing to take part in the challenge is to read just one of the 6 main novels of hers. So you have your pick of those. But yeah, I think I'm concentrating on reading Pride and Prejudice, The Murder of Mr. Wickham, and I'm going to listen to the Jane Austen bookshelf. If you've enjoyed this video, do give me a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, then please consider doing so. I do appreciate that. Comment down below, tell me what you're reading. I will link the organisers who run Jane Austen July and their announcement videos, or certainly their channels. And have a good Jane Austen July if you're taking part. If you have got to the end of this video, what can we have? I don't know, what can we have for Jane Austen related? I'm trying to think what we could have. I don't think we have a letter emoji, do we? If we had a letter emoji, possibly that, or just something nice and flowery and summer, like a summer flower, or you know, we've got, I was going to say we've got bees and things like that on there. Anyway, thank you for watching, take care, and I'll see you very shortly in another video. Bye bye.